Welcome to Info4OB Global Virtual Summit 2022. We are going to start here our workshop session here for day one, track one. The name of the track is Humanities and Social Sciences. We have the theme here, Models of Learning, Moving from Principles to Practices. Today we have presenter, and the name of the presenter is Mr. Muhammad Munir. The title of his talk is Cooperative Learning Strategies in Business Management Specializations. I am Professor Dr. A.K. Mujahidul Islam, Director, International Affairs and Cooperation at United International University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, as well as Professor of Computer Science and Engineering Department. Welcome to this workshop. Before we go to our today's speaker, let me read out his short biography. Mr. Muhammad Munir, currently serving as an additional director of IQAC at United International University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, with over 25 years of total experiences, including 18 years foreign experience in the United States of America, Saudi Arabia. Mr. Muhammad Munir demonstrates high levels of expertise in training, consultancy, and academic administration. Mr. Munir obtained his MBA in 1998 from Lamar University in Texas, USA. He is a certified professional of IBM Cognos Business Intelligence, short form is BI, software, and worked extensively with data warehouse-based BI projects in the United States of America. The clients that Mr. Munir served as business analyst in USA includes Metlink, Bristol Myers, etc. Regarding the academic experience, the institutions Mr. Munir worked include American International University, AIUB, Dhaka, Bangladesh, Jubail University College, and Yamaha University in Saudi Arabia. Mr. Munir is proficient in institutional quality assurance systems, standards, and procedures, and has proven expertise in setting up and managing quality assurance and accreditation activities. As a seasoned trainer, Mr. Munir conducted hundreds of trainings locally and internationally in management, quality assurance, and skill development topics with the audiences of faculty members, students, administrative personnel, and general public. He is a confident educator of business with consulting experience in the corporate and industrial sectors, covering telecom, manufacturing, medical insurance, and business areas. Possessing superior interpersonal skills, Mr. Munir has the ability to create, foster, and enhance business relationships that assist in achieving organizations' objectives. Currently, he's working as an additional director of the IQAC at UIU Dhaka, Bangladesh. Without further ado, I would like to invite our today's speaker, Mr. Muhammad Munir, to deliver his talk. Mr. Munir, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Professor A.K.M. Mujahidul Islam.
Sorry, I mean, may I just take a second? Our audience, please, if you have any questions, please write down in the chat box so that I can collect and pass it to our today's speaker. He will answer for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Professor Mujahidul Islam. Today, my topic is on cooperative learning, and I do have a slide that I will use while I deliver my lecture. So let me share the slide with you so that it can help guiding my talk on this topic. Just, I hope you are watching my slide, Professor Mujahid. Is it okay?
Yes, we can see your slides.
All
yes.
right.
Please carry on.
Okay. So once again, welcome to the workshop. Today is the day one, and on Info4OB Virtual Summit. I welcome you. In my language, we call Shagotum to all in my session today. And it is afternoon time in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I know there are global participants joining from other countries. It could be their nighttime, your nighttime, or even your morning time. So wishing you good morning, good night, and good afternoon at the same time. My topic today is on CL, or what we call cooperative learning, strategies and techniques in teaching business management specialized courses. Today, the example I will use is Introduction to Business course, or we have another title called Principles of Management course, how that course can be taught using through CL techniques. That will be my focus today in my talk. These are my subtopics. First, I will go through defining what is CL, or cooperative learning, and how it works. There are 5 building blocks, 5 foundations, 5 fundamentals of CL. We will go through them. And then there are 7 steps. If someone would like to apply for the first time in the CL techniques in his or her classroom, what are the steps or processes? Then we will focus 10 top 10 techniques in my point of view that I've been using it for last almost 18 years of my teaching career. I will share my experience on that, of applying it in the classroom. But in that techniques, I will give a short description of each technique and how it works. And finally, I would like to conclude today's talk focusing on some troubleshooting issues, how to smooth out the implementation of CL in the classroom for you. And that's how I will try to conclude, inshallah. The way I did the structure, after every 30 to 35 slides or half an hour time, I will have a quick Q&A session to receive questions from the audience. And please, as Professor Dr. Mujahidul Islam said, that please keep posting your question in the chat box, which are accessible to you. And that will be passed through me by Professor Mujahidul Islam. Outcomes, that's all we are talking about. That's the theme of this virtual summit. What are the outcomes? What are the things the participants who joined today in this session now, and who will be staying and leaving at the end of the session, by the end of the session, what they are going to get? I have listed 4 points for you. Number 1, you will be able to explain what CL is and why it is important. And also, you will have understanding, a basic understanding of the fundamentals, 5 fundamentals or 5 building blocks of CL. Also, it will help you familiarize with the 7 steps of applying CL activities in the classroom. And finally, the main take-home lessons today is the techniques. And we will focus on 10 techniques in my talk today. So without further delay, let me start my workshop on cooperative learning. So let's get it started. We know technology has changed, right? And we have adopted new techniques. These are the dialer phone. In my school life, I had it in my uncle's house, and I saw it how to dial it. Now we have the smartphone, no longer using the dial phone. We have adopted new techniques in the phone. We had this typewriter, but now we have this laptop, right? And but technology has changed, but in teaching and learning, many of us did not adopt the new techniques, new methods. This is the picture of 1922, a classroom in the United States. And on the right side, another picture in our country in 2022. Almost same picture, same method, same way of lecture delivery. Nothing has changed during that 100 years of time in many of our class lecture delivery, still the same. And this is what we are going to talk about, is that what has changed, what change has occurred to CL, and how it transformed the traditional learning to the modern teaching or modern teaching and learning. And that transformation is done by the teachers, who are the facilitators of learning. They're the coach of learning. And me being a Muslim in Islam, we believe is that this is a testimonial of me being a teacher. As a teacher, like they say, the best among you are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. What a great testimonial of someone being a teacher of Quran. C.L. Lewis, one of the intellectual giants of the 20th century, he says that the task of modern educators, task of us, our task is not to cut the jungles, but to irrigate deserts, to bring out new plants. So who does those things, cutting jungles and bringing out, irrigating new plants, implanting new plants? It depends on the types of teachers, and there are 4 types of teachers. First type of teacher is an ordinary teacher who goes to the class and just talk and talk. Another type of teacher is a good teacher who does explanation, explaining the things he or she teaches. Then the superior, third category, superior teacher demonstrates. And the last one, the 4th, the best category of teachers. And myself, I'd like to be like that teacher, is the great teacher, because great teacher inspires. If you ask my teaching philosophy, this is the teaching philosophy I believe in. And it said that if you give a man a fish, you give something for his next meal, which he can cook and eat for 1 meal time. But if you teach him fishing, you are giving something for the rest of his life. That the teacher job should be, not only doing for the students and not letting the students to do it for him or for her to learn it. If that is done, then it will be just giving them a fish for the next meal. But our job is to teach them so that they are doing it in front of you. Now, once they graduate, once they get out from the school, they will be able to do it by themselves. So how do we measure, how do we calculate good teaching? There are a method, it's called how much learning are students getting. I mean, the amount of student learning. It means that the things we teach, the subject we teach, there should be a learning side of it. In other words, no learning, it means no teaching. What we teach has to be learning, has to occur in the process, both for myself as a teacher and for my students to learn. Because absence of learning is just talking. Anyone can talk. If my talk does not produce any learning, I will be just a talker, a canvasser, right? This gentleman, probably in 2018, I forgot the exact year, he got the Guinness Book of World Record as the longest time speaking or lecturing. And he did talk for almost more than 40, 50 hours. And he talks on personal development, of course, minus his maintenance time, sleeping time and eating time. But he did continuously talk for long hours and awarded the longest time speaker by the Guinness World Record Authority. My question is, do you think his lecture produced any learning? Not much, or maybe no. It is just talking, right? So that is why we said absence of learning is just talking. Now I'm in a position to share with you what is CL and how through your teaching it can produce learning for the students. Hands-on learning by them doing it, not by you or me as a teacher doing it for them. Okay. Let me show you a few images. I will ask you a question, and eventually, it will be clear what the picture means. For example, in this picture, I see a person leaning over a stone or big round thing, written knowledge, right? So we can easily say that the guy standing is a teacher, and the other sitting on the floor are the students or learner. So let's assume that there is a job that this round object, heavy object, has to be pulled over to on a mountain, on a hill, and let's see how they are doing it. Right? So still see the same persons, one person pushing the stone, and three others are sitting on the ground, zero. So these three persons are students, as you say, and the teacher is the only one pushing it to the level he wants it to go. Little meaning is that, but the real meaning is that teacher here is trying to increase the knowledge level of the students. For him to do it, maybe he attended a lot of training, he's going to a lot of textbooks, he's attending seminar, spending time in making lecture notes, exercises, many things, but he's doing it alone. It is not helping the students, right? And it is getting difficult for him to increase the level of knowledge. And he realized it, and he thought, okay, why not do another way? Next. Okay. So what he did, he has broken down that stone into small pieces. And he thought, okay, let's do piece by piece rather than things as a whole. But again, what we see in this picture, the same poor teacher guy, he's himself doing it, right? He's the one doing it, and it's getting difficult also for him to do this job and increasing the knowledge piece by piece. The ideal scenario is on the next image, next slide. And I hope by this time you have realized what should be the ideal scenario to increase the level of knowledge of disciples, of students, including their helper together, all of them, teachers and students. What is the ideal scenario is this one, right? And look at the position of the students. They are the one pulling it. And the teacher is pushing behind. That means sometimes without teacher pushing it, students will be able to pull it. Not all the time teachers need to push it for the students. If you ask me, Mr. Munir, what is CL? This is what CL in a nutshell, in picturizing what the CL is. And that is cooperative learning, or we call CL. the main center, the prime center of CL is University of Minnesota in the United States. They have a center called CLC, and the methods you hear me talking, the techniques, the fundamentals are from that CLC center. So what is cooperative learning? To give you a definition, it is said that CL is a student-centric learning method where students work together in small groups to promote their own learning and to promote each other, the team members' learning. CL is also known by other names like active learning, collective learning, peer learning, team learning, reciprocal learning, collaborative learning, many names it has, but the main core things are the same with the different synonyms, other names. In the CL teaching method, teachers act as a facilitators, and students learn by active involvement, and students cooperate each other in learning and understanding their own learning, and as well as their team learning. Study shows that CL method, cooperative learning method, is applicable in teaching almost any discipline area that you teach, be it a math, lab, or theory, field work, any area the lecture setup is, it can be done. Research also found that in CL, students learn better than traditional method, are more satisfied, and one of the biggest advantages is the retaining the knowledge learned, longer retention they have in CL method. If we look at the learning pyramid, in this learning pyramid, what we see, the top area are the passive learning, not much involvement from the student side. For example, if you just listen my lecture now, you are listening my lecture only, and after my lecture, if I ask you what I talked about, you'll be able to answer me or written only 5%. But if I let you read after my lecture, it increased almost double, 10%. And this slide that I'm sharing, you're watching, multimedia, audio visual kind of thing. It also almost double, 20% audio visual. And if I give some demo, also 30%. But in all these 4 areas, me is the one only doing it. Students are not involved because these are passive learning. On the other hand, if I go to the next level, discussion, if I let my students open their lips to talk, unzip their lips, open a discussion session, that's where the active learning starts. If I let them practicing after discussing, 75% of retention of that day's lecture. And the max can be achieved by one member teaching other member, teaching others. That's 90% of retention can be done. And these are through this active learning method. This is a quick difference between the traditional learning and in cooperative learning. I am not saying all bad that traditional learning is bad. No, I went through in my school, college, even my university life, going through traditional method, and it has good side of it. But in comparing the superior features of cooperative learning, we can say this points is that in traditional learning, students learn individually. There is a win-lose kind of philosophy works, but in cooperative learning, since they learn in a team base, they have study buddy. It is a win-win. The team wins means all the members win in that subject. I would like to stop. Yes, almost 20 minutes. Stop in that slide for any questions so far. If you have any, you can ask. Because after this, we will go another topic. So I thought it would be good time to pause for 2 minutes for any question. Professor Mujahidul, any question you receive?
Unfortunately, until now, we don't have any question to ask you. So,
I continue then.
yeah, so in such case, maybe you can just carry on.
Okay.
Just move on. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, the second subtopic is how. That probably those who are listening our talk today, probably there is someone maybe convinced that, okay, let me know how that can be applied in the classroom setup. So if you'd like to know how to apply in CL method in the classroom, there are 7 steps. And this is how it is done, the CL in the classroom. The number 1 thing is informing. If you are doing it by yourself, you inform your students, the class, that, hey, class, welcome to the new trimester, new semester. In this semester, I will use a new method called CL and team learning things. And you inform them and you tell them why. So you specify the objective of why you're doing it at the beginning of starting the CL. Next thing to do is developing, preparing CL assignments, CL exercises, and not only that, scheduling it. It could be like twice a week. So if you have a 15 weeks class meeting time, that means you can have 30 CL exercise in a given semester. The third step is forming teams. And better to form a team with odd number, even 3-member team and 5-member teams. If you ask me, I prefer, and I do it sometimes during class meeting time to give a quick CL technique, I make 3-member team. If you ask me why, because I found that 3-member teams, while they work, I did not find any member inactive. They are all engaged doing something. But once you increase the number of the team member, the chances goes higher with a higher number of team members doing nothing. I mean, inactive members. So I prefer 3-member or 5-member. Do not go more than that. And study also found that yes, you can let students to form their own team, or you can form the team by yourself. Study found that teachers assigned teams works better because a teacher can make a balanced team, balancing maybe in terms of academic level, making sure that every team has strong, talented students and weak students and medium students. A teacher can make a balanced team by geographic locations where the students came from, urban area, city area, even gender-based, culture-based, many ways a teacher can do it. But as students, if the students form a team, they choose a team based on their friendship. And many times, the social talk starts in the friends, team by friends. So you not only form a teams, you also assign roles, what role the members should play. For the CL, during they do their CL task, for example, team pair solo, one of the techniques of CL, once they work as a team, there should be a member assigned as a speaker to present the findings, a member to read the assignment, member to write and find someone whose handwriting is good, and a member to do the proofreading, checking all the fields of that assignment that filled properly. Data are given, sections are given, IDs are written clearly, names are correct, those things. And also you can have another member as a timekeeper, or you call energizer or motivator, to motivate the student, his team or her team, to continue work. And what also you can do, you can rotate the roles of member roles after, if it is a 4 months long semester, after every month you can rotate the roles. The next things you need to do for CL application in the classroom is room arrangement. I think the layout of the sitting arrangement. This is the traditional, the picture you see on the screen is a traditional sitting arrangement, all sitting by columns and rows, and all facing toward the teacher, and a backbencher sometimes cannot see the teachers clearly, no eye contact, the eye contact is broken. So this is the traditional way of sitting arrangement. But for CL, if the chair are fixed, difficult. But mostly the chair are stationary. You can move it. The ideal in a regular lecture, you can have it in that layout. But once you give a CL exercise, the same, that this should be arranged in a CL layout. Sitting, if you make a 5-member in each team, let them sit face to face in a circular way. In the previous, we have 20 students in a traditional sitting arrangement. The CL arrangement in the circular method, I still have 20 students there. And once they're done with their CL exercise, you instruct students to rearrange their chair and as before. And you can also tell them, hey, you guys, you are young, you have energy, so do not, while they rearrange the chair, tell them, do not drag the chair, do not make any sound. And let's see how quietly you can change, reset the layout. You just pull the chair, not drag the chair. So many ways you can energize them to reset their chair sitting for the next class to start. And it is time to apply the CL techniques. You call them, you explain the exercises, and then you give the time how much it is. You ask questions, maybe within the CL exercise in the written form, or you show the question on the slide, or you read it loud, and you give the time and give it to them. Once the team receives it, the team role, they play their role. The reader reads it aloud. The one filling the form, he or she is making the form clearly. The role they play. And this is my classroom in Saudi Arabia. I taught there for almost 9 years. This is a co-ed class. The upper deck, female students used to come, and lower deck are the male students, and me standing in the front. And what I found is that Saudi students are really, they love to talk to each other. In a traditional method, I found they're not liking, they're getting kind of not concentrating in my lecture. But once I give, anytime I used to give them CL exercise, they enjoyed it a lot. And I found a lot of retentions are happening through that CL exercise. And while they're doing their CL exercise, you roam around, you go to them, ask questions, hey, are the things okay? Anything, any problem you're facing, may I help you? Anything you want me to retell, explain? You continue doing it, and they will love it. They will like it because they find you're caring, you find you supporting, you cooperating. You are not only teacher sitting on his chair and lecturing, but he is a facilitator, he's a coach, comes nearest to you and asking for you to help you, extending his hands of help. And they will really appreciate that. Finally, number 7, you evaluate the performance. And this is 2009, one of the platform that I used in Imama University back in Saudi Arabia, where I did a peer evaluation of all those members, not only peer evaluation, but also their performance of CL activities. I think now I should tell you why I am following CL techniques, why I get, and what makes me motivated to follow CL techniques, and why I have chosen this topic in this Info Global Summit to talk about. I have a few points to tell you. And I believe, knowing my reason of liking it, reason of using it, will help you also to adopt, to apply CL techniques. What I found in delivering CL techniques is, adopting CL techniques is found that the students receive more attention and care. In a traditional classroom teaching, a class with 40 students, me as the class teacher, 1 versus 40. But in a CL setup, once you form a teams, for example, 40 students converted into 8 teams, each team having 5 members. So now they have not only me as their course instructor, they have each team, 8 of them, there are 8 team leaders. So 8 team leaders and me, 9 supporters for the team members. So more attention, more care, all right? And they receive both from the teacher and the team leader. You know that, those who are listening, everyone remembers our school and college time, even university time. Sometimes we had questions, but we did not spell it out. We zipped our lips because of maybe nervousness or what others might think. But as students, fear or hesitates or doesn't bother asking the teacher a question, but a student will not feel hesitation sharing it with among his classmates, peers. And that's what CL does. It unzips student lips because they are friends and they can talk their problems. Because sometimes the way a teacher explains, it may go as students over their head. But a student understand other students' point of view, how it can be explained so that the students can understand. And that's how the CL makes students receive more attention and care. Number 2, why I use CL technique is, as I explained it already, is that CL helps unzipping student lips. I used to collect those animated cartoon published in the newspaper in my student life back in my MBA. And one of them series, for better and for worse, is helping me now. So in what we see in that cartoon, in that image, is that it is a classroom and they are the students listening the lecture, and bubble is going up from each of their head. It means everyone is thinking the same way. And what they're thinking, they are thinking, this professor is going on, and she lost me completely about 15 minutes ago. Not only him thinking it, but she's also thinking the same way. The guy behind him, he's also thinking the same way. That I did not get what the professor is lecturing about. I lost her. I'm not getting it now what she's talking about. And class continues again. Everyone is thinking. You see the big bubbles going up, their thoughts. If I read their mind, what they are thinking in their mind is that everyone else seems to understand, and I must be the only one who is confused. This guy thinking, oh, she's getting it. I'm not getting it. But she having the same thought also. She's also thinking that this guy in my left, he's understanding, and me is confused. But eventually, everyone is confused. But the teacher is not stopping. She's continuing her lecture. And again, the whole class, you see the big bubbles from the whole classroom, maybe in a gallery having 100 students, sometimes more than 100. And everyone is almost thinking that I really want her to stop and go over some of the stuff. But you know what is? Nobody usually do not raise their question. You know why? We know it. I know it. Because they are thinking that if I put my hand, 75 students, friends of think that I'm a doofus. I'm a stupid person, or I don't, know the answer. So because of that, what others might think, students usually do not unzip their lips, do not spill out what they think in their mind. But CL helps unzipping students' lips. As I said, my Saudi students, and even my current students in Imam United International University, they also found they enjoy, and their confusion got clarified, cleared through team discussion. Number 3, I found CL cures 3 diseases, 3 syndromes. And this is the name I made myself. I found it. One of them I found CL cures WMWS. It is an acronym and spell out like movie watcher syndrome. I found students, nowadays students, coming to the classroom without having anything with them, not even a pen. They have, even I found during the exam time, students coming without having any pen. So it shows that how much, and I even also found the students came with a bottle of Coke or soft soda water, but without having any pen with them. But CL cures that, because CL demands require you to bring study materials with you, right? Because without the study materials, you cannot participate. You cannot earn the peer evaluation points. You cannot contribute. You'll get lesser marks, weak marks for your team contribution. Another disease CL cures is a PTL, pretend to listen syndrome. As a teacher, we see that some students, they are looking at you, they are facing at you, but their mind is not in that classroom. They are somewhere else. Some pretend that they are listening. Maybe their eyes are on the teacher, but their minds is not in their classroom. CL cures that one also. How? By having them involved in class activities. And last one, FUS, falling asleep syndrome. Let me tell you one story of mine, funny story, one of my memorable story that happened in my classroom. It goes back to my Saudi students, Saudi experience. It was a summertime. I had early morning class at 9 a.m. in the morning. And the course I was given is kind of a theory, saltless kind of content. It's called organizational theory. And my lecture was kind of centralization, decentralization, explaining chain of command and span of control, how to narrow focus. So I was using my marker and writing on the whiteboard, just pure lecturing without having any of my slides. And I found in front of me one student. He was kind of almost falling asleep, and I kept ignoring because he's not bothering me. He's the one losing himself. Depriving him from the lecture. So I did not say anything. So at one point of time, while I was writing on the whiteboard, I heard a bang sound, and the tapping sound. It means the guy could not stop himself falling, so his forehead touched on the writing desk. So after the sound, I turned back and had an eye contact, and the student said, "Sorry, teacher." So what I did, I went close to him. I stand close to him, and I told him, "Do not tell me sorry. Rather, I thank you. I give you thanks." The students was not getting why I'm thanking him. I told him, "You see, thank you because you show me the effect of my lecture, that it makes you asleep. It gives you sleep, right? So thank you for finding it out for me, because I see you are sleeping, you fall asleep." She said, "Sorry." I said, no, don't tell me sorry." You know what I did then? I got my wallet and I get one of my card, and then I give it to him. And all the students was listening what the conversation me having with their students. And I give him my card, business card, and I told him, "You see, this is my cell number. I'm giving it to you. Keep it with you. And at any night at your home, you are trying to sleep, you call my number, cell number." I did say it in front of all of them in a fun tone. I said, "Call me." And once I pick up the phone, ask me, "Teacher, explain chapter 3 of organizational theory." And then you put your phone on a speaker mode. Then I will start lecturing, and I know within a minute you'll be in deep sleep. He laughed a lot, the whole class laughed a lot, but that is the reality sometimes, that our lecture keeps some of the students fall asleep. Number 4 in CL exercise is that there is no PowerPoint poison by PowerPoint. You see the slide number 397. Many of us are heavily dependent on PowerPoint slide. But we know that in good standing, top-ranked universities, still they use chalkboard, all right? Because it's more inducing for students to write things from the lectures, teachers is writing on the blackboard or whiteboard on that one. Number 5, the main reason I use, the top reason I use the CL, because CL helps walking the talk, all right? It connects the theory with the real life. It connects the students to collect information. I let my students use the mobile phone during CL time to browse internet, to collect information, to read journals, to go different websites, and to collect, to compile, and make a report. And it helped them walking the talk, right? Professor Mujahidul Islam, any question you received so far?
Yes. There are 2 questions actually. If you can read them out, or I can do so as well. The first question, can you hear me?
Now I can hear. Yes. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. All right. The first question: does asynchronous communication help in CL assignments? Does asynchronous communication help in CL assignments?
Yes, synchronized, asynchronized, it helps sometimes, it helps. And for example, what I do during my class meeting time, I have one-to-one communication. And after the class meeting time, we have the messenger group. Student has the messenger group. and we keep that on through social media communication. Also, the IT system we use in the university, we call ELMS module or system, that has also a chat session. I can keep them connected. Like for the homework, some homework we give them, they do part during the class meeting time, and they do the other part at home. And for that communication, also we use those online-based communications for them. Yes, it is needed. In fact, it is needed for the CL assignment. Number two is, question number two is conference type sitting arrangement better? For CL, no. It's my personal view, and my experience is that it could be like, for example, in my Saudi classes, they used to sit in a horseshoe kind of layout, all sitting by the wall side. So it used to give me a greater area to roam around, and I can have a one-to-one eye connections to each students. But in a conference kind of circular area, yes, you have a maybe a broader area to look at, but it is not, in my point of view, CL friendly sitting arrangement. Because in the CL, they need to be sit together face to face in a circular or triangle fashion if you have 3-member team, or in a circular fashion if you have 5-member team. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you very much. So please, you can move on.
Let's move on. We have almost 1 hour on 53 minutes. We have 1 more hour remaining. I'm trying to have extra minutes at the end of my talk for a bigger time for Q&A session. Now we are having a quick short session for Q&A. I hope you remember this TV serial, like a team, like George Pepper. Remember the team lead, Mr. T. One of my favorite TV serial in my college life. It used to be aired in a Wednesday in Dhaka, Bangladesh, in my college time in Notre. And in those times, we used to wait for Wednesday night for a team. And it was so attracting, so enjoyable. Every episode, every one was a different assignment, and that a team, they've been successful in every assignment because each of them have their unique skill. And by the George Pepper leadership, they gathered the unique skills together, and then how it made them utilizing the unique skills. It reminds me another story, a story of why CL use team. Why not a group, dividing half 20 one side, half another half other side, and give classroom lecturing? Because team has a power to have the combination of members' unique skills. It creates synergy. Even though in a team we see 5 members, and each member, if they can write, for example, 2-page in 10 minutes, if you combine them, they'll be able to write more because of team spirit and other combination. So CL creates synergy or the team spirit synergy. The story I was going to tell you is a common story that every one of us listening, attending this session knows. And the story of Hare and Tortoise. Remember, there was a race in a jungle book by Walt Disney. After Second World War time, I think it was first released. And they've been arguing who runs first. And they said, why not decide this on a race? And they went for a race, a start and finish point. And the start point, the rabbit, the hare is a slim, smart, gets a bigger lips, So he ran first and found that he's 2 ahead of the tortoise. And he found a tree and he thought, okay, let's rest a bit. But he took rest and fell asleep by the time the tortoise passed by and he touches the finish line. And it made the tortoise, the slow runner, winner. And you know the the lesson of that race, right? Professor Mujahid al-Islam, we used to say, slow and steady wins the race, right? We know that story. Why I'm telling the story? Because it connects with the CL spirit of why CL has team. But what happened after the race, many of us, maybe we do not know, but things happened after it. What happened, the tortoise, after losing that race, the tortoise did some, the bunny, I mean, the hare, he did some root cause analysis of why, being a faster runner, being slim and smart, why he was a loser in that race. And he found that he was overconfident, he took things granted, and he neglected the tortoise. Knowing the fall, he would like to reclaim his credibility. So he went to the tortoise and he said, hey, tortoise, my buddy, let's go for second race. The tortoise agreed. And in the second race, imagine who became the winner? Obviously, the bunny, the hare, because he did not take rest at this time. And the lesson or morale of the story is that fast and steady will always be slow and steady, right? This is the second race of the story, and story did not end. Now, the tortoise, the ninja turtle, the tortoise started thinking that first time I became winner because of his negligence. Now he woke up, and there is no way to beat that fastest and smart runner. But he did some brainstorming, finding whether there is a way to beat that fastest runner. He did some thinking and he found a way. And he went to the hare, the bunny. He said, hey, bunny, my friend, let's go for third race. The bunny agreed, but tortoise put a condition. And the condition is, he said, not the previous route, a different route. From previously it was from point A to B here. Now it is from A to point B, another direction, another way. Bunny said, no problem, no problem. Any route you give, I will beat you. The tortoise was smiling silently. He said, we'll see who will beat whom. So all the jungle, inhabitants, they came to watch the race, full of animals watching the race. The third race started. This time, bunny planned never to take rest. He ran first to reach on the other side, the big tree on the horizon that was given as a touch point. But once he went to close, he found a river, a creek. And he said, there is a strong current. The bunny does not know how to swim. So he was stuck there. And he can't do anything because the big tree was the other side of that river or creek or that water stream. So he waited, and then he saw tortoise came, and he looked at him, and he swam the river. He went other side, and bunny was watching from the other side that he walked slowly, and then he touched that big tree, the finish line, and he became the winner for the second time. Right? My story did not end. That is the big twist of the story of why CL has team and how CL team is a powerful team to make a weaker skill, someone in a weak skill, to make it, to remove that weak skill and make it a better. In the fourth race, after racing 3 times, both of them become better friends, and they realized that the third race could have been played in a better way. So they decided to run again, but as a team, not as an individually accompanying each other. So it is the second route, the route that have a river or creek in between, but this time they used one another core competencies. So from starting point to the riverside. We know the bunny has the core competency. He can run faster than tortoise. So he took the tortoise on his on top of him, and then he ran super fast. Then it's time to tortoise to play his role. So he swam the river, bunny stand over him, and then other side they changed the role, and then bunny took the tortoise, and both of together touched that finish line. You know, so it's like a kind of what you call the win-win situation. In SEAL team, exactly this is how it happened. And that is why it is important for teacher as an instructor to make a balanced team, making sure in every team there is a good standing student, someone with extrovert kind of personality, then explain things, someone having a maybe a good analysis kind of analytical ability, kind of having analytical ability in some of them, a balanced team so that weaker student, someone hesitating talking, someone having lack of analytical skills can learn by his teammate, by his peer, how to become a better speaker, how to do good analysis. All right. So sorry, I took extra time in explaining the team, but this is the main driving force of SEAL. That is why I took time in explaining this story. One thing to be cautious about is that you form the team. Hey class, you're 40 of you. Here is 8 teams. Go and sit together and do this work. No, this is not SEAL. SEAL is not simply working in groups during class meeting time or outside class meeting. So what is SEAL then? What makes and SEAL is not a group project that with 1 or 2 students doing all the work and others takes a free ride. No, that is not a SEAL. So what makes a team a SEAL team? What is the difference between a regular team and a SEAL team? There are 5 fundamentals, 5 building blocks that we mentioned at the beginning. Important one. Those who are listening with your paper and pen, my humble request to take note down those 5 building blocks, 5 fundamentals that makes a difference between a regular team and a SEAL team. I will explain all those 5 briefly, but these are the 5 points. Number 1, in a SEAL team, they depend positively. They depend on each other. In SEAL team, there are accountability. Every member has a specific job to do, and if they don't, they're accountable for it. They go through a peer evaluation process. There are markings on it, on their team performance. And team leaders sometimes have the empower to fire a non-cooperating, non-attending team member. And in that case, that student has to do it all by alone. Number 3, interpersonal skills. One of the building blocks that SEAL has is that if you can give one strong member with a good, strong interpersonal skills, it can help the weak students having weak skills of human skill to improve their skills. Number 4, face-to-face interaction. SEAL teams always sits in a circular method, you know, face-to-face kind of sitting arrangement, not in a seminar or as one of you asked that conference, not that way. 5th one and the last one is group processing. What students are learning individually, SEAL, it becomes a team learning. It becomes a refreshed learning, modified learning for the team. Now, if I go back briefly explaining what the SEAL building blocks are. Number 1 is positive interdependence. And SEAL member depends on each other. Someone playing a role of reading the assignment, he or she depends on another member who is filling the form properly. If he or she does a mistake, he will be sufferer, the whole team will be sufferer. So it is not only doing individual job properly, but also doing it correctly, because team member depends on them. The team depends on maybe another role with the speaker. If that student, she or he is a good speaker, they earn better points. So it depends on his or her good speaking skills, and combining all individual credential, the team becomes a strong place for them as a support. And they follow a swim or sink philosophy. Let's swim together, avoid sinking. Number two, individual accountability. There is no social loafing. Like in a rope pulling. In my school and college life, even in a fun exercise, picnic or outing, we arrange this rope pulling game, and you will notice there are always someone not putting the enough strength, right? And these are called social loafing. Because why they are not putting the required strength? Because maybe their contribution are not that observable. And here the number goes bigger, the social loafer, or social loafing got increased also. That is why in CL team, every member is accountable and to remove this non-activeness of the member. Number next, 3. Oh, also in number 2, the peer evaluation are taken to arrange. And another story to tell, one of the fun story, but learn story, fun and learn kind of thing. It's fun to hear, but there is a lesson in it. Maybe many of us experience the same scenario. The story of 4 people. Why the story is connected? It's connected with the accountability. That story shows what might happen if the members are not accountable, if the members, their roles are not defined, if their roles are not clarified, then this will happen. And it's a famous story. I know many of you heard this story before, a story of 4 people. And the 4 peoples are everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. They are members of a team. All right. And there was an important job to be done, and everybody was asked to do it. Mind it, everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but actually nobody did it. Somebody got angry about it because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that somebody would not do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when actually nobody asked anybody. Blame culture. You see the blame culture? No, it was your job, circling the blame culture. And why it happens, Professor Mujahidul, is because their role was not defined. Who is to do what is not defined, not clearly defined. And that is the reason of blaming game, passing the blame to others. And this will not happen in CL. CL team is free of such problems, right? Number 3, interpersonal skills. Member use their skills, even weak skills, to sharpen, to increase to a better skills. And they do it by unzipping their lips. The shy students start unzipping the lips, talking with others during CL exercises. They communicate, they make decisions, they fall into conflict, and the conflict they try to resolve it. They have differences of opinions, and that's how they increase their interpersonal skills. Number 4, face-to-face interaction. This is 2004, probably. Yes, 2004. In my first time I tried in AIUB in Bangladesh after I started my teaching career in American International University in Bangladesh, AIUB. I came to know in 2003 when I moved, and then about CL, I came to know through a training, in a teacher's training. I was informed, trained, and I was really impressed, motivated by the CL idea, and then how I started. And from next year, 2004, I started using it regularly in all my class teaching. Number 5, group processing, which is the best building blocks, is that all the lessons of individual members becomes group lessons, and their skills are getting stronger by individuals' contributions. Result is deeper understanding of content. As I kept saying, is that development of weak skills, increased overall achievements in grades. Study found it that students with a weaker grade are found to achieve a higher rank while they were put in a CL method in some courses. All right, and I think time to start another quick Q&A sessions before we go the techniques part. Another attraction of my talk today, I hope you'll get it, of techniques. Professor Mujahid, our dear moderator.
Am I audible?
Do you have any
Hello?
questions?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any question right at this moment. So you can carry on, please.
Okay. Then carry on then. This is another subtopic, and we're the last. We are going to the end of our workshop today on CL techniques. Is the common CL techniques. In this subtopic, we will talk 10. You can, to me, it is the top 10 because I use those more often. Those 10 or combinations of them, and I found it better suitable in a university classrooms or tertiary level classrooms, even though it is applicable both in college, high school area though, but I found those 10. So I will talk on 10 common techniques of CL, cooperative learning techniques. And let me show you the list first, and then I will go one by one. Most easy one, easy to apply, only for 5 minutes. You can turn it, initiate anytime, and that is called 5 minutes review. And a 3-step interview. It can also last for maybe max 10 minutes. And nicely, you can do it within a 10 minutes, 3-step interview. And pair present support that can be also done within 10 minutes. And this method, number 3, is a super method for making an introvert or a shy person, making someone with a weak oral skills, weak public speaking skills, to make it a strong public speaking skill. That session will give a platform, a scenario for students to improve their skills. We will talk details during the explanation. Number 4 is a think, pair, share. It can go maybe sometimes from 10 minutes to 15 minutes, even 20 minutes time of think, pair, share. The team, pair, solo. It demands more time, maybe half an hour time of team, pair, solo techniques, or it can be done the opposite, solo, pair, team, individually, with two, and with the team member. Number next is jigsaw procedure. That also takes time, maybe 20 to 30 minutes of class time to do it ideally, but it can be also done in 10 to 15 minutes. But if you give 20 plus around minutes, I found that more lessons are achieved by that. It depends on class meeting time. Usually in the university, we have 90 minutes lecture time. So you can easily fit that 30-minute slot for those jigsaw procedures. Number 8 is circular SAGE. SAGE is experience, like we know that they are kind of top 5, the top ranked 5% students in your class. Those are expert, experienced, matured, more advanced level of students. They are called SAGE, circular SAGE. And number 9 is a round table. And number last is a agree-disagree lineup. These are 10. Let me go at brief explanations of each of the methods, and then we'll go another break. And then finally, after conclusion, the real break, inshallah, for Q&A session. First one, the 5 minutes review. And this is used to clarifying concepts. How it works, it can be applied in anything you teach, right? And you can do it by after giving a lecture, 5, 10, 15 minutes, you can stop and open a session, a review. Suppose you're teaching introduction to business schools, right? And you lecture on the management, on manager, and the difference between the managerial and non-managerial employees, and you talk about terminologies, and then after lecturing it, you pause, you give them 5 minutes for review time, so they will maybe just turn their left and right, and they open the textbook, they start discussion, and reviewing it what being lectured by you. After that 5 minutes review time, once they are done reviewing it, the topic you lecture, the class is ready to for you to question them. I mean, the teams are pressure on swim or sing. If they fail to answer it, they get negative mark. If they're able to answer it, they get positive mark, something like that. Number 2 is a think 3-step interview, another nice one. In the 3-step interview, if you give 15, it can be done within 10 minutes, as I said before. But before that, it needs a lecture, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes lecture, and then initiate the sales session. It has 3 steps. In step 1, after you're given the lecture, after you're the teacher giving the lecture on a topic, you open the 3-step interview. You tell them what 3-step interview is. The step 1, a member interviews or asks questions about the topics you lectured. He or she can open the textbook and reading it and making questions, asking the other person. And then they switch the role. The interview become interviewer, the interviewer, and then they start asking questions. At the last steps, the team, they share first pair, left to right, they move left to right. And then at the last phase, they ask questions, interview questions among themselves. For example, it can be like for Introbus, we have a chapter called multinational corporation. There are 3 types of corporation. It's features and functions. If you lecture it for 20 minutes, you can open a 3-step interview, and students will go through asking the names of the 3 MNCs, what are the features of each MNCs, and how they function, what are the differences, and name some company that you find is similar in your country that matches those 3 MNCs. Number 3 is also really interesting. It's called think, pair, share. Think, pair, share. It starts with you by giving them a question displayed on the slide, or you write on the whiteboard, or you say it verbally. and you give a time for 10 minutes, max it's work sometimes, most of the time. So you ask a question, and then they will, as a team, they think the answer individually. You give them like a 1 minute thinking time. During the thinking time, each member will try to find what the possible answer is. And then they pair up in the left or right, or back and front. They pair up, and then they share the possible answer. And once that is done, at a pair ways, answer could match, could be different, and then they share with the team member, and they find their answer on that time. Number 4, pair present support, and I did mention before that it has a benefit of making weak students in oral skills better students in oral skills, because how it works. You first lecture for a topic. For example, it could be like environment of business, external forces and internal forces. And there are many actors in the external forces of the business environment. You talked about different forces, and then you open a pair present and support kind of CL techniques. In the first phase, a student's what he or she after you lecture what he or she can remember, they will tell it, and other students will kind of as a listener of your talk, they will listen for you. And if a student stuck or stopped, could not remember, that students will help from opening that chapter. I said, okay, I think you missed that point number 3. He helps him to remember. He helps him to remember the points from the textbook. And this way, it helps shy students to become more comfortable in speaking. And this can be, role can be switched, and the way like think, pair, share work. Number 5 is number heads together. How it works, suppose you explained a topic having 4 or 5 sections. After explaining it, after lecturing it, you have teams with 4 or 5 members in each team. You assign, you first number them, tell your team, hey, team lead, number your members, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So every team will number their members. And then you assign each subtopic, topic 1 to member 1, topic 2 to member, subtopic 2 to member 2, subtopic 3 to member 3. And this way, even the team leader will get a different topic. And then during that sales session, what they will do, first, those who got those individual topics, subtopic, they will go through, again, reading it from the textbook. If needed, collecting info from browsing the net. Once they're familiar with more information, then they will teach their classmates one by one. So team member 1 who got topic 1, he or she will explain about topic 1. And then topic 2, topic 3, topic 4. Once this briefing is done, then a teacher will come forward and ask, hey, team number 5, team, stranger, you please stand up. They will all come in the front of you. And then you tell, okay, team, topic 2. You do not ask who was assigned topic 2. You can ask any member to explain their topic 2. All right. So this is how team member have pressure of sink or swim, because if different person receives the assignment of explaining topic 2, he has to do a good job. He has to do a good job, because unless it will be negative points for his team performance. Number 6, team pair solo. It works better in problem solving that has a degree of difficulty from easy to difficult. Could be a math problem, it could be assignment like a small case study related exercises that has a easy, medium, and difficult. So what do you do in a team pair solo? You give an assignment that is difficult to do for an individual student, but for a team, no. So you give the same assignment, difficult one, to a team. Once, while all the team members solve that problem, the weak students also involved in solving the problem, then you split the team into two or pair. And you give the similar degree of difficulty kind of assignment to the second group in a pair. And finally, the ultimate goal, you give similar degree of difficulty related problem to individual member. And by the time as member attending, doing a problem with a team, with a peer, he or she has hopefully gained that expertise or power to solve it by alone. Number 7, jigsaw procedure. It is similar to number heads together. It works the same way. You give, for example, a chapter has 5 subsections. The team has 5 members. You give each member one section to choose. So all 5 members select 5 different subtopics, and then they go come together, they explain, and then so the whole picture, the whole chapter becomes easy for them to understand. Number 8, another interesting one, it's called circle the sage. In every course you teach, there are problems or exercises that you know that not all the student can solve. There are problems, but student has to know it. But there are some problems that only few students can solve the problem. So what do? You ask a question that is difficult to solve by many of the students, and you ask them to raise hand who can solve the problem, solve that exercise. And maybe 5 or 6 students raise their hand, irrespective of whether they are from the same team or different team. Then you tell the other remaining students that, hey, all of you, you gather, circle around the stage, or all those students, even number, right? Like 10 or 12 students per sage, if you have 4 or 5 sages. And same problem is given. So the students will observe how their expert students solve the problem. And they kind of have experience of solving it by their expert student. And then they come back to their team. You give similar problem to the team for them to solve. We're almost at the end of 10 techniques. Number 9 is round table. And in the round table, how it works, you give a problem statement, an exercise, a case study that have multiple answers, multiple possibility way to solve it. You give that question to the team member, and each member will answer it individually, and then they pass it to the next member, and then they combine each of their answer. And then you, as a team, you correct, you compile, you drop, you cut the wrong answer, and then you prepare, you compile the right answer for that question. And then teacher, you display the correct answer, and the team with most correct answers are rewarded. The last one of today's 10 top 10 CL techniques is agree, disagree, lines up. A simple idea, simple but powerful. How it works, you give a problem statement that has yes or no kind of answer, and the whole class, they will go either way, either yes or no. Then he said, okay, make 2 groups. The whole class is given into 2 groups. One group supporting it, another group against it. And the team with the supporting it, you tell them, okay, find, compile, list your points by talking all this, no matter how many, 10 or 15 or 20 students maybe, they are supporting it. Tell them together, give them time, 10 minutes to write the points in favor of them. And you ask the same thing, those who are negating it, against it. And you tell them, write 10 points why you think you are against of that ideas. And then you show the correct answer and see who has done the right job. Okay, so that's the end of the 10 techniques. Any question after this technique session?
No, we haven't received any question from the audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So it could mean 2 possible assumptions. One assumptions could be things are
Very clear.
or it could be another. It could mean another, or they want me to stop. Hey, Mohammed, when it's too much speaking, you should, stop and say goodbye. It could have 2 meanings, but let's hope for the best. Let's hope that things are getting clear to the listeners.
So anyway, you still have around 27 minutes, 26.
Right. I have the last session now.
Yeah.
I would like to take 5 to 8 minutes. Then I open the discussion with you and others. Okay?
All right. So we may end up a bit earlier today. No problem with that. So please carry on.
Right. No, that is intentional to have a bigger kind of like longer time for the final QA session after having this short. Now, this so far what I talked about, I know it might sound good buzz in your ear. We talked about good things, all the positive things, increasing grades, a better retention, more fun, more attention, more engaged, all the good things we talked about. But there are critics in the CL method. And we will talk about it. There are difficulties, there are challenges, there are problems raised by both sides, teacher side and the student side. In this session and the last session, I would like to focus on these 2 participants, major participants of CL, the teachers and the student side, some problems, challenges they are facing, some critics point, and try to put light in it, try to give solution to it. One of the student concern, one of the major student concern of them doing CL exercise, and that concern comes from the team leader, is that the members are not all involved. There are free rider, free flying, just sitting with them and doing nothing. And the team members or the leader complain that our group is not just working out, and they complain. And they used to come to me sometime. Hey, teacher. I said, what happened? They said, teacher, you see, I have 5 members. 2 of them are non-responding. We call them, they're not picking the phone. We send SMS, we even post message, they're not coming. And only 2 are regular. And the one, my teammates, he is not that much attentive. So I'm the only one doing everything. So what to do in that scenario? Solution is, the optimal solution is, as a teacher, for letting your team doing their task smoothly, you can give some empowerment. And that empowerment to the team leader, and all the members should know that what power you delegated to your team leader to make it empowered is that team leader will have the power to fire a non-cooperative team member. All right. It has to be communicated, it has to be understood, and the consequence has to be realized also. If a member not responding the call, not coming to the meeting, not even during class meeting time, during CL time, not even helping them. So the team leader will have the power to fire a non-cooperating member. On the other hand, if a member by his honest effort of supporting a team, he or she may find non-cooperation. So a team member can also quit. For example, a member comes to me, he said, "Teacher, the team you assign, they are not communicating with me. I would like to work." I even called them. They said, "Okay, we'll sit for a meeting. We will do that assignment." And he said to me, "Teacher, after 2 days, the deadline is coming after 2 days. Our team is not ready. I have done my job, but they did not do their job. What I should do?" In that case, team members, you can give a power of quitting from a team if the team leader or other members are not that cooperative to that. And also to solve the challenges, to solve those problems, you can have the system of peer evaluation, member evaluation. What I do in my class, I teach a course in the business school. Even besides me working as an admin, what I teach a course called LSS. It is a university success course, and it's a team-based exercise I do. And I have 5 points out of 100. I give 5 points for their team performance of supporting each other. And I assess it through by giving peer evaluation. I give a form to each member to assess, to judge other 4 members and different criteria, different categories. And then I average it, and then I come up with their numbers out of 5, what each member will get. Another thing for reducing member resistance, member non-cooperation is by rotating roles. Teachers concerned, they are usually the first time hearing it or first time doing it. They are the one mostly complaining about it, is that CL is time consuming, and I'm afraid I cannot complete the syllabus if I follow CL, right? But is not time consuming that much. It is scalable. It is scalable means if you have 45 minutes class meeting time, you can run a think pair solo for 15 minutes. If you have a 3-hour long class meeting in a summertime, you can do the think pair solo for even 1 hour. So it's scalable. It can fit the time, adjust the time as per the time of your class meeting. And most of the techniques, 50% of them, you can do it within 5 to 15 minutes. And that 5 to 15 minutes is the time to turn an unengaged class in an engaged class, attentive class. And by the teamwork, actually, this team spirit start growing, and students start testing the fruits, the sweetness of their subject matter by them understanding it, by realizing the knowledge they have learned, and that can be only done, mostly done by teamwork, right? Some suggestion for the teachers who would like to try to it or are trying at the beginning is that please be patient with the process, and always inform your students at the beginning, inform all the process, how the techniques works, what are the students' role, the team leader role, and your role, how it will be. Everything has to be informed and clarified to the students, and go slowly, take baby steps. Try 1 or 2, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, maybe once a week. And then students, once they get familiar with it, then you increase the number with twice a week or or every class meeting, 5 minutes review we can do every class minutes. If you have 15 weeks, 30 class meetings, we can do even 30 times that 5 minutes review. And for the team, you can form on the fly. Hey, join to left or right, two as a pair as a team, and then you can go for permanent team once they are familiar with that. And always show their progress and their mark, their grades they have achieved through their performance involving in the team. Also, the lessons they have learned, and give reward. For reward system could be bonus points, extra points, or similar like that. This is what I said, like show them the correct answer after each exercise in CL techniques. And this way they will measure, they will know the deficiencies, and they will be able to find the ways of improvement. Almost done. Sir Mujahidul Islam, almost at the last slide I'm now today and let's try to conclude that great teachers, the inspirer, focus on how a student does not only during the class meeting time, he or she focus on what a student does before the class meeting time, during the class meeting time, and after the class meeting time. And CL is a great way of doing all these three for you. And that also, this way, CL can help having the learning outcome achieved for you. The conclusions, I would like to conclude now by saying it that what learners can do together today with your supervision, they can do it alone tomorrow. That's all from my side on this, my talk. Thank you for joining my session and staying with me. I am ready for any questions. We did receive 2 or 3 questions at the beginning. Now we have time till we have 15 minutes, right? That's what my target was, to keep 15 minutes for Q&A time. Professor Mujahid, it's right. So I'm ready for not only questions. Please give your honest suggestions, opinions, advice, corrections. I have a bigger ear. I'm not only came here to talk. I came here also to listen from you. So please do give your valuable input, suggestions, feedback, and of course the question that the session is for. Thank you very much. Back to you, Professor Dr. Mujahidul Islam. Thank you too for being a moderator, supporting me today, and thank you the IT expert who has joined with me, Mr. Anas. So thank you all. Let's start the QA session now.
Yeah, thank you very much, actually, Mr. Muhammad Munir, for your nice talk today regarding the CL, the cooperative strategy. So, yeah, I think last time there were a few questions, and I believe that all you talked about the strategies is well delivered to the authors, to the listeners. So that's why we have very limited number of questions. So I think it's fine that we are about, actually we have some I think 5 to 10 minutes left, but it's okay if we I think we can finish earlier. I think Mr. Anas, are you there? Mr. Anas Yaqub.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, so if everything fine, can we stop here? Can we finish the session a bit earlier?
Yes, sir. You can.
Okay. just 5 to 10 minutes early. I think should not be a problem, right? Okay.
Yes, sir, it's not a problem.
So, well, so then maybe I thank the honorable speaker today for conducting a very long session, actually almost two hours, talking about various strategies on CL, so and giving insights. It's been recorded actually in YouTube, so I believe that it's there already. Somebody who wants to watch later on maybe has some questions. So I would like to say to the listener that in the website infoobe.org actually we have the speaker's bio, and at the end of the biography actually there's an email that have been provided where you can get the email address of Mr. Muhammad Munir. So if you have later on any question that may arise in your mind while going through this video, maybe you can just write an email to Mr. Muhammad Munir. I hope that you won't mind that one, right? So I think this is how also it can be, solved later on. So thank you very much, actually, Muhammad Munir, for we don't have any crest, but this is a token of appreciation from our side.
My pleasure working with you, and my pleasure of being in this summit today. Thank you once again. Thank you very much for having me in that for me being participating in this summit. I'm really glad, and wonderful time with you with your moderation. And thanks once again to Anas, and especially thanks all the participants who joined, listened our talk today. All right. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Goodbye.
Assalamu alaikum.